Hey everybody, this is Activities Across Grade Levels, and this week, the cool of digital citizenship. If you were not aware that there is coolness in digital citizenship, we will seek to abuse you of that lack of knowledge. Let's disabuse you. There's a much better way to explain that thought. Nevertheless, so here we go. We're gonna jump into this stuff right here. We want to thank you for taking part. It is great fun to share ideas with all of the cool educators out there who are like, just give me an idea. I'm new to this kind of online teaching and learning thing. And that's perfectly fine. We're all learning as we go, and that's good. It's good. But I think a lot of the things that we share today, you're going to be like, yeah, that's an activity I need to kind of get involved with. And so for you, I mean, our assumption is that you are simply a teacher who is looking for cool stuff and cool ideas, cool tools, cool resources, cool websites, and cool ways of making that inspire kids, because that is how we see what we're doing. Let's send out a thank you to all the cool folks in Fowler Unified, Susan's district, and how they may be joining us right now live or watching the recording. Either way, very good to have you. I want to say hello to all my peeps up in Jerome and Idaho who I work with. Love all you good folks at Summit Elementary and Jerome High School and Fall City Academy. You guys rock. And a special thanks to Richard Byrne of Free Technology for Teachers, with whom I do a webinar on Fridays called Two EdTech Guys Take Questions and Share Cool Stuff. And it is a great way to finish the week because we share lots of cool stuff and have a lot of fun doing it. So you have a good time, come away with good ideas. We take quite seriously the opportunity to have fun. So there you go. And by the way, tomorrow will be like the last one. We're going to go on a bit of a hiatus from the Two EdTech Guys. We'll have some other things, kind of out there for you and all. Pay close attention to the nextvista.org website on that front, but join us tomorrow so that we can send Richard off into the summer and all of his projects, with a big bang. All right, we want to say hello to you. We're very happy to meet you, and we're happy that you have joined us today. And we'll start with my partner in this, Susan. Susan, please tell us a little bit about yourself.
Hi friends, my name is Susan Stewart. I'm an instructional technology teacher on special assignment. I like to call myself a tech coach in Fowler, California. So I work with 120 amazing teachers and I support them with all of this digital integration. Before being a teacher on special assignment, I spent 14 years teaching kindergarten and second grade. So my background is in early childhood education. And I'm really excited just to be here talking about, this is one of my favorite topics, digital citizenship. So I'm really, really glad to be here today.
It's true. She put all these good things in the slides for us, and I'm excited to see what she has to share as well. My name is Rushton. I am a former high school teacher. I taught Japanese language, former middle school teacher of video production, and former principal of a K-12, and then an online high school. So I have had a variety of experiences in this space, and now what I do is I run a little nonprofit. Save the world. This is it. Nextvista.org, a free library of videos by and for teachers and students everywhere. I hope you'll give that a look. I'm actually going to plug it a couple of times because we got some great digital citizenship stuff in there for you as well. What you'll find in the library are videos about different academic topics and different communities around the world, about service to others, about careers, about learning the English language, all sorts of good stuff, all free. And just go and bask in the goodness that is cool and creative stuff created by teachers and students that is freely available without the distractions of ads and such. All right, so how this is going to work? What we are going to do is we are going to go from group to group to group to group. Those four groups are young learners, upper elementary, middle, and high school. And we're going to talk about some different kinds of digital citizenship shindig activities you might want to try out with your own students. And you might find, if you listen closely, the things that we talk about for a group that is different from the one you teach might be very valuable to you. So have fun with that as we go. So Susan, get us started with the young learners.
Alrighty, so young learners, common sense education. We're talking about a big topic here, digital citizenship, because sometimes you put that word out there and you just ask a teacher, what is digital citizenship? And finding the words to come up with it. Like sometimes we hear words like cyberbullying, and you hear about being kind online. And there are also some other components of digital citizenship there, media literacy, being safe online safety. All of these things come together to make this concept of digital citizenship. It's so much more than just don't cyberbully, right? There's a lot going on there about getting our students familiar with just how to be kind and safe in an online environment. Common sense education takes these big ideas and brings them down to that right level for young learners. I think of something like online safety, and in their lesson that they have, because they have a ton of pre-made, ready to go lessons. You don't have to make this stuff, it's there for you. There's a lesson specifically on, it's called the website traffic light. And it gives students a tool, like a framework for evaluating if this is the right site for me. When they go there, they can see there are videos, things ready to use, and it gives kids this tool where they can say, oh, this website, it has games. It's a good one. Okay, this one asks me for my personal information. Maybe that's yellow and I need to ask for permission. So it has all these big ideas, online safety, but brings it down to the level that's appropriate for them. Just like this example that Rushton's showing here. Creative copyright and credit is a big concept that I know a lot of adults don't even understand. How do we give the right credit to who has created something? And how do you teach that to a 5-year-old, really? So what's really nice about it is it does take that big idea and it starts by an activity. And in this Let's Give Credit lesson that is pre-made, ready to use lesson plan, it has all the kids draw a picture, like a picture of a flower vase. And so the beginning part of this lesson, everybody draws a picture of a flower vase and puts it down on the floor in the middle. And very intentionally, the teacher goes and picks up a picture that is not her own and gets a marker and writes her name on it. And everyone watches and knows that wasn't the picture of the teacher. And the kids all start looking at this and they're like, that's not her. That's not, she just put her name on someone. That's Johnny's, flower drawing. And they start having like, well, how does it make you feel when someone puts, and just really connects this big idea of credit to something simple that even a kindergartner can relate to. You don't have to make this up. Common sense has done it. They have these printable slides. This is an example here where it's like the turn the page slides, asks the question, gives videos, activities. There's printables if you'd like something that they can do. There are also parent resources in multiple languages. So much ready to go. You don't make it up. It's there. K-12 curriculum, but that K-2 stuff, I know for me, how do I explain big ideas to young learners? It's a challenge, but common sense has your back. Everything you need for getting started with those big ideas right there. If you haven't had a chance to check out that curriculum, check it out, Common Sense Education. And if you haven't been there in about a year or so, go back, because they have constantly evolved and changed and improved. And if it wasn't there a year ago, guess what? It's there now, because before there weren't necessarily those teachable slides. They've even taken those teachable slides and they've added just engagement and interaction. It's really great stuff. So Common Sense, of course, I can't have a conversation about digital citizenship without starting there, because it is a great foundation framework for teaching all of these big ideas. But then how do we apply that? Because as we continue on, this idea, again, I want my kids to have authentic opportunities to learn something. I liken it to this analogy. What if this were my daughter and I were teaching her how to cross the street? If I took my daughter out to this empty desert and we practiced crossing the street, would she really be learning anything? If we put up all the safe walls around our students, we want to do that. And as our schools, we have that responsibility to keep them as protected as possible. But we have to pause and wonder, what happens when the traffic comes? What happens when they come across something that isn't appropriate? We have to equip them with the skills, because as we continue on, we know that real life doesn't look like this. We can have all the safety protections in place. We can take them out and practice here. But on the next page, it'll show us like, really, life is messy. There's cars, there's people, there's things they could trip on. If we don't practice in an environment where they could potentially, maybe run into things, or just give them opportunities to practice, are they really learning? Would my daughter learn how to be safe crossing the street if I just practice in the safe, in that safe place? So I love that possibility of giving them practice. And that's where these next two tools come in. Something like Flipgrid. I have a friend here and I can't wait for you to meet him. This is Orlando, and Orlando is telling us about being a good digital citizen. Go ahead and play that for us real quick. It's brief.
I am a good digital citizen because I don't talk to strangers on the computer.
Right. I'm a good digital citizen because I don't talk to strangers on the computer. Right. Now, this is Flipgrid. And if you haven't used Flipgrid before, it's a way for them to record those short little videos. They don't have to be so short. They can be up to 10 minutes, but we could have short videos. I like to keep them short because if they're long videos, I still have to watch them. Keep them short, but then they can publicly share them or privately share them within their class community. We can create a nice little safe garden for them to practice in, but there are other people, right? It's not just Orlando and I that see this. He knows that his peers will see this as well. And the second we have students creating for an audience that goes beyond the teacher, like things shift a little bit, right? They realize that they're creating for an audience, and it's a good place to practice that. Also, like in this one and the next one, they have a place where they could give each other feedback. This is Seesaw, and if you've hung out with us at all, you know that I always go to Seesaw. When we're talking about primary, it's always about Seesaw. But this is a really authentic place for them to start learning some of those foundations in digital citizenship as well, because they can leave each other feedback. Audience goes beyond the teacher, because I can share with peers and share home to families. And then here they are giving each other feedback. And in this example, it's kind of small, but some of them are telling each other, I love the way you did this. I love this. One of them also says, what do you think the central message is, right? So they go beyond like, good job. And we really teach them about giving feedback that is more authentic than, I like it, good job. Oh, I like the way that you use the sentence here, or giving them really, really specific feedback. What a great place for them to practice making comments on a topic. I don't know about you, but I have some friends online who could use a lesson in how to make good, kind comments, right? So what a great way for us to practice and then do that in a nice, safe way, audience beyond the teacher, but right there within Seesaw. So I do love that. They can practice communicating, feedback, all of those things in a safe learning environment. Continuing on, talking about students who are a little bit older, but really this is the same for everyone. One resource that is really fabulous is the Be Internet Awesome Curriculum by Google. Free digital safety and citizenship, right? It is about the safety and citizenship for students grade 3-8. This isn't necessarily ideal for the really little ones. It is designed for slightly older students, but it is ready-made lessons, printable activities, posters, all of the things. And they focus on be internet smart, be internet alert, be internet strong, be kind, be brave. These are all the components of digital citizenship in the Be Internet Awesome curriculum. Lessons ready to go, full script, you can get started and of course adapt from there. Do you notice the little pear sign in that upper right-hand corner? All of the Be Internet Awesome lessons are available as Pear Deck activities too. So if you haven't had a chance to try Pear Deck, you can do, it's an engagement tool. So I put up the Google Slides and I turn on the Pear Deck piece, and then kids can vote, they can count, they can put in their answers. So it makes this an interactive lesson as well. So Be Internet Awesome by Google is a complete curriculum for those middle-aged learners ready to go. Again, we know teachers' time is valuable, and we want to find authentic ways to build these digital citizenship lessons into what we're already doing. Like if I'm doing a research project, I want to make sure that I pull some of that research best practices and creative copyright and credit. I want to do that authentically within what I do. But there also is a need for just explicitly teaching digital citizenship as well, in my opinion. Interland is the next one here, and this is really fun. It's games. Interland is a set of like kind of self-paced, self-guided games that kids can play. Each of these are islands about a certain digital topic. One is, a safety-based one. One is a kindness-based one. So each of these islands are a series of games. It's like an adventure game. And I mean, what kid doesn't love that? But they can log in, they sign in with Google, and it lets them kind of just go along and explore in a more gamified situation. So Be Internet Awesome and Interland, they work together. A lot of the same common themes, but they are two different resources. One is a game and one is a curriculum. And then beyond that, of course, our middle-aged learners have opportunities to explore and share beyond the classroom too. In this next example, you'll see that we can give them some authentic, safe places to share. We use Padlet that way too. So this isn't just kids within our classroom. We do some things that are across the district. And in my district, that's only 5 schools, but we'll have students from kindergarten through 12th grade all creating and sharing in one space. What a great way to practice online community. What a great way to practice online digital citizenship. I tell those high school kids, who is your audience? Your audience is the young ones. Make sure that anything you share is appropriate for your audience. And the same thing with the little ones. We'll say like, oh, wow, the big kids, the high school kids are going to do this. Are you going to try your best? Are you going to show them what a good reader you are? We can, build that community that way. But again, providing a place for them to have and practice online citizenship that isn't just completely contained. I love giving them the audience beyond the classroom. And I love talking about digital citizenship because the truth is this, our kids are connected. whether or not, like we can't, there's a great sketch note by Sylvia Duckworth where she says, like, we can't put our heads in the sand and pretend that this isn't going to happen. They're already connected. They're on Snapchat. They're on TikTok. They're watching YouTube. They're on all the things. We might as well make sure that we're getting them the skills to be successful there, because today digital citizenship really is just citizenship. It is citizenship of the world today.
Well said. We have a little thing on our refrigerator that says, if you don't talk to your cat about catnip, who will? Right. And same idea, right? So if you're not hearing things from you, they're hearing from each other, and that may or may not be the right kind of info for what they're dealing with. Let's look at some stuff that we can do at the middle school level. Now, one of the first things that comes to mind for me, given the work I do when I think of digital citizenship, is respecting the intellectual property of others. And some 20 years ago-ish or so, Larry Lessig of Stanford at the time, I believe, introduced to the world this thing, Creative Commons. And the idea was to say, hey, what if you want to retain ownership of your material, but also give it away for free? How does that work? And they built this system around that. And so having Creative Commons licensing can be really, really valuable. Now, there's a load of material out there. I mean, if you go, if you do a search on at CC Search at search.creativecommons.org, we'll get that in the chat. Matter of fact, Susan, if you would add that to the chat, that would be awesome. Search.creativecommons.org, and you find all of this stuff that's available for free for you to use as long as you cite your source. Now, it's a little bit more complex than that, but that's the basic idea. Now, what this is trying to help kids go from, like, oh, citations, that's that thing where you have to figure out where to put the semicolon, blah, blah, blah. Like if what you do is you start teaching citation according to, say, MLA format in middle school, kids going to learn to hate citations. But instead, if what you do is you say, this is really just about saying who's responsible for the work and what's it called and where'd you find it, right? And ideally what the license is. So it created a thing called the 2-slide presentation, so named because it has 2 slides. And the idea is that you put on the first slide an image that is Creative Commons licensed, provide a citation, and then on the second slide, you say why you chose that image. You're like, that's it? That's it. And the idea is to simply say, let's get them used to these forms. And every teacher I know who's really kind of jumped into it is that, oh, good, the kids can do this in no time at all once they realize how easy it is to do. But when would I use it? You'd use it when you're having kids introduce each other at the beginning of the year, even if you're introducing each other online, right? And you might do this at the end of units as visual review for things. So people have to find Creative Commons licensed images related to terms that you're teaching as a part of your subject. So feel free to use that link, the tinyurl.com/2-slide-presentation, as a way to copy that for yourself and use it with your own students. You may well have run across the 6-word story before. The 6-word story is one of those really interesting creative writing tools, right? And I believe the idea is that it goes back to Ernest Hemingway, whose story was, and I will read the entire story to you now, for sale, baby shoes never worn. So 6 words, powerful, powerful story, right? And so we've seen this in our English classes probably. But when you think about it related to digital citizenship, what if you use it to identify how what you mean when you say something or post something may not be what it is that they hear. So if you get kids to say, all right, well, put a message together, 6 words, and they have to put that together. And then the kids really start working with each other. And I'm like, well, what are other ways to interpret that? They can begin to appreciate that what it is they mean may not be what other people will see. Took a shot at it myself to capture the idea. I never meant what they thought, 6 words. All right, so anyway. Next thing I want to say about middle school is gaming. And you're like, what do you mean gaming? Gaming, all right? So what I'm saying about gaming is this. Gaming is an opportunity, as I see it, to get kids to really examine the question of who's in control. Who's in control with their communication? Who's in control over when you play the game, right? Because for a lot of kids, once they're into a game, they're really into a game. And it's hard to get them not to be into a game in order to go do the next thing they're supposed to do, which is a question of addiction. And how do you help the kids deal with it? Well, they have to have legitimate conversations about these things. So as I see it, have them talk about things like, what are games you really like and why? What are the attractive pieces of those games? What are the things that are really compelling to you about that? And if you know that, you can begin saying, all right, I understand that about myself. What are my own strategies for stepping away when I need to step away for a bit? Those conversations are important to have. Let's move up to high school. With high school, we've got another set of things related to games I wanted to show you. And I call this spot the business model. Because if what you're doing is you are out there and you are finding some tool, even as a teacher, right, where you're like, this is a free tool, that's great. Why is it free? All right, what's the purpose of it being free? Is it that they are trying to establish more of a user base? That's perfectly good. They may want some information for doing that. Not necessarily perfectly good. It just depends, right, on who it is, what we know about them. And when you look at things like apps for games, one of the things that I always look for is like, well, what is it? And like in Google Play, for example, you see it contains ads. Okay, that doesn't tell me that that's the only way they're working with information, but it is helpful to know that they do have a model, right? One of my favorite games, speaking of addiction to games, is Toon Blast. This is a crazy interesting game, great puzzles and stuff. But for this, offers in-app purchases. Okay, so that's how they make money. Knowing how a model works is important, because if you can't tell what the business model is for any given thing, the chances are your information is the business model. So you know. All right, let's keep going. I want to also suggest that getting kids to really ask good questions about issues of privacy and kindness and so much else that falls under the umbrella of digital citizenship may well come down to things like, what does it look like when you do it wrong? And so, you think about videos and things like, okay, well, how to do this, how to do that, Khan Academy, how to solve problem X, whatever it may be. I actually really like how not to videos, right? Kids have so much fun with how not to videos. This video on our site, how not to get a prom date. Very clever video. And for any of your more awkward kids, you might make this suggestion. Just saying. But more to the point, it's interesting to look at something that is commonly done incorrectly, such as being online and serving up too much of information about yourself, and to create clever videos that are built around the idea of how not to share too much information. Get kids to begin sharing ideas. What might a funny video that's 60 seconds long look like for that? And if you can get them kind of planning how to put cool things together, have them do it. Have them make those videos. There are so many cool ways that their work can then become something that helps others, and that builds their academic confidence as well. I'll also show you yet another one on our site. Wow, lots of shameless plugging. All right, this actually comes from the Global Student Voice Film Festival. So, I think at core, with a lot of things related to digital citizenship, we're really talking about being kind. And the idea of being kind is much better understood through stories than through through lectures, for sure, right? And so if what you do is you say, let's watch a few videos together. All of the videos at the link on this particular slide and in our links doc, which you will get, you'll get it, is from the work of students around the world who shared kind of clever ways of looking at things like stepping in other people's shoes. And so having that chance to look at these and say, what would be our stories? So in teams, how would we put stories together about kindness as well? And those can be really fun to do for the kids and for you. As always, we got a few extra promising resources for you, because there's just so much good out there, and we've only got 30 minutes because we don't want to take up your entire day. And so 3 things that I thought you might want to take a look at. First is that there's some good stuff out there in terms of just digital citizenship, and a group called Waterford looked at the ISTE digital citizenship pieces and said, okay, let's put some tips and activities together for teachers. And so we've got a good link there for you to kind of work with. There is ISTE itself. ISTE is the International Society for Technology and Education. They have a lot of good material available as well. They have 9 essential elements of digital citizenship that you can follow via that link. And then, of course, there is the wonderful organization Edutopia from the, I'm just blanking, the Lucas Foundation. Thank you very much. All right, not that Star Wars shaped my entire life, but still. And what they've put together is this nice list of articles that are about digital citizenship that are worth the read. So if you're looking for that way to find spend a little time this summer figuring out how to kind of how to take what you're doing up the next notch, right? An article from Edutopia, the kinds of stuff that they share, really, really strong. So we are beginning to reach that kind of tail end of our time frame. So I want to say, as I always do, that what we do as teachers is to care for the children, care for their learning. And to do that, we have to care for ourselves. As you look at what we share in all of these episodes, when we talk about activities across grade levels, the whole idea is for you to be able to say, that's something I want to try. I think that might be good for this kid. Is there something that one of my students that I'm still in touch with, needs to see that I can share? We want you to find things in there that allow you to see those possibilities. And that spark of possibility is something that I think drives the very best teachers and all of those who work to become really, really good at what they do. All right. So my little nonprofit has a monthly newsletter, the nextvista.org newsletter. It's at nextvista.org/newsletter, big surprise. And in the monthly newsletter, there's all kinds of things about stuff you might want to try or read or watch, all gathered for you because I know you're busy, and hopefully this allows you to find some good stuff without having to work too hard for it. We also give away a Starbucks card every month because that's not an upsetting thing for most people. And share cool things coming up, like great gigs that are going on here, there, and everywhere. So I hope you will sign up for that. We will get that link in there as well. Debbie asked, will we get a copy of the PPT with the links? Absolutely. The slides to everybody who registered for this webinar, like all our webinars, will get an email from me within some hours after we finish, with the link to the recording and to the slides and to all of the different resources we mention as we go. Got a blog called Inspiring Improvement. I hope you'll follow the link in these slides to those and to the books that I've written on becoming a better teacher and making your school a better place, and for leaders to use technology to make your professional atmosphere more personally and professionally satisfying for your entire team. All right, if you have any questions, feel free to toss them in, but we want to thank you for joining us. Susan, talk to us a little bit about how people can stay in touch with you.
Okay, so yes, I am on the Twitters at Tech Coach Susan. I'm Susan, I'm a tech coach, and I'm not very creative. So Tech Coach Susan on the Twitter. You can also search the hashtag K2Can2. You'll find a number of teachers creating and sharing and contributing to that hashtag, talking about empowering our young learners to do just that, share and create, and just let them try, because they can do a lot more than a lot of people give them credit for. And thank you so much for being here. I'm so excited to always share with this group of teachers who show up. And then those of you who are watching it later too, thank you so much for having us. And yeah, Tech Coach Susan on the internet.
Cool. And nice modeling of how powerful a hashtag can be. If this summer you find a hashtag where people are sharing things that are really, really good for the work you do, you've had a good summer, right? And so for you folks who teach the youngest set, look at that hashtag K2Can2, because loads of good stuff being shared there. You can get in touch with me via nextvista.org, next with an X, vista.org. That's a library of videos by and for teachers and students everywhere, and we hope you will get excited about the different cool things that have been created and shared there. You can also find the back issues, the back episodes of activities across grade levels at our webinars page. We're excited for you to take a look at that and you share them with other people, and to take those ideas and use them to reach that next kid, because that's always the goal, is to figure out whatever our medium, whether we're in person, whether we're online, whatever level we're teaching, is to find that way to reach the next kid, because that's the best thing I would say about the work we do. So with that, I would like to thank you again for joining us. I hope that you will join us again very soon, and watch for my email coming up. If you have any problems at all finding any of this, just let me know, and I'll be happy to get links to you. So with that, I am going to stop the recording, and those of you who are on live, we'll just keep talking to you because we're happy to do that. Everybody else, take care and have a great week.